Welcome to my Credential Your Growth portfolio. So I'm going to be talking about instructional skill called probing, which is when you ask students to elaborate on their answers on the spot. This first video comes from my Hamlet unit. Students were presenting jigsaw presentations about soliloquies in Hamlet. So they had to read a soliloquy and then analyze it and use evidence to argue whether Hamlet was acting like a hero or not acting like a hero in the soliloquy, presenting quotations and then the analysis of their quotations to their classmates who had not read the same soliloquy. They also had to present a tableau in which they used their body to depict their quotation.
In this scene, Hamlet is going back and forth, overthinking about if he wants to kill his uncle and get vengeance for his father who was killed by Claudius, or leave it alone and not doing anything about it. That's it. That's all.
Our evidence is Hamlet is a hero because he wants to get revenge. He wants to get vengeance for his father, and our evidence is a villain kills my father, and for that I, the sole son, do the same villain and send him to heaven. Otis is higher and salary not mentioned. So he wants to kill his uncle for what his uncle did to his dad. And Hamlet becomes a hero mainly because he fights to justify his father's death. His coach shows abuse and assaults towards his wife.
Is that your tableau?
Yeah. So King Claudius is afraid and like I kill him or stab him
Wow, it's over here singing it, man.
Wait, but does he actually kill him?
Save your head.
No.
That's okay. Alright, keep going.
Okay. Our evidence that Hamlet is not a hero is he is a villain because in the text he says, then trickles that his heels may kick at heaven, that is his soul, may be damned and black as hell where it does go. And it's just so that Hamlet does not become a hero because he wants to kill King Claudius and what his father did and the way he's like sin.
Oh my god. Okay. Alright, very nice. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Last group. Yeah, Mari. 995. Alright, please stay attentive to the groups that are up there because you may have already gone already, but you need to be respectful of your peers, so please do not be talking. Please do not talk while they're speaking. Thank you.
Alright, so for our scene, Act 4, Scene 4, Hamlet is deciding whether or not to kill Claudius. He is stating all the reasons to why he needs to die, and he's also accusing other people that are close to Claudius of being responsible for King Hamlet's death.
The first evidence that we chose was how stand I then? I have a father killed, a mother stained, the excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep. And the explanation is that he's kind of upset that for some reason he can't kill Claudius, even though he knows that Claudius has done all these things to him, killed his dad, and he's stole his mom, basically. So, yeah.
So is he acting like a hero or not acting like a hero?
What do I say here? No, he's not acting like a hero because he just can't man up and do it.
Alright. What about your tableau?
Oh. You are dead on the ground. So I'm Hamlet. He's King Claudius.
Hamlet,
No,
no,
King
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
He's King somebody, but he's dead.
Oh, King Hamlet?
He's King Hamlet.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my mom, and I'm like, I'm grieving over his death. While she goes away, doesn't even care. Like, my dad's dead. I gotta kill somebody over here.
Alright, very nice. Okay.
Mamari.
There you go.
Mamari. Examples drills as Earth export me. Witness this army of such mass and charge led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition cupped. The explanation is he feels like he's a failure at being a prince. We didn't have a little act for that one.
Okay.
Well, it's army though, so. Like
Can we stand together and be army?
Yeah, we're an army. We're gonna charge to the other side of them. So. Ooh, made that one up on
We have to march. Like I learned how to march in color guard.
Okay, so is he being a hero or not? Is he being a hero or not being a hero?
He's not being a hero
Not
Why
big
not?
deal.
because
he
you
feels like a
can't
failure.
just put the paws on him. You do it.
All right, very nice. All right, ready? 1, 2.
So, as you can see, I did not do a great job with probing during this jigsaw presentation. After the first group presented, the only question I asked them was, does he actually kill him? This was a clarifying question because it was unclear from their tableau whether they understood that Hamlet doesn't actually kill King Claudius in that scene. He just thinks about it. But I didn't ask them any other follow-up questions. And then with the second group, I asked them the question, is he acting like a hero or not acting like a hero, which was the question they were supposed to answer in their presentation. So I did a better job in that second group, but at the same time, they gave a really short answer to that question the 2 times that I asked it, and I didn't really follow up on it. The second time I asked that question, I also asked why not when they said he was not acting like a hero, and then the students were already going back to their seats. They didn't really give a full explanation of that, so that was a missed opportunity. In both of those cases, I could have asked more questions to clarify what their stance was on the analysis, and then also to ask them to elaborate more on their analysis. And as you will see in the second video, I learned from this experience and improved upon it. These next 2 video clips come from later in the semester when we were doing a unit on language, gender, and culture. My students had watched the movie Mulan and read an excerpt from Maxine Hong Kingston's memoir, Woman Warrior. And then they were doing a presentation analyzing both the movie and the article they read. So their prompt was to take a stance on whether the movie and or the article empower women with their message, and then they had to use quotations and analysis to support their stance. So I think I did a way better job this time around with probing them to ask follow-up questions after their presentation, which you will see in the next 2 clips.
So we said that Mulan empowers and overcomes the gender barrier by continuing to defy gender norms set by the generations before her. But in the article, there's no point, like they say that there's no point in having girls, so we feel like that they're enforcing the gender norms and everything because they say that guys are more important, they don't really care for the girls, and they're like really, I don't know how to explain it, like they just don't want the girls around, they're embarrassed by them.
And our first quote was, you said that you trust Hayden, why is Mulan any different?
The explanation was that Li Shang easily trusted her when she was a man, but when she was revealed to be a woman, he stopped trusting her even though she and Ping were the same person.
Our second quote is from the article that we read, White Tiger. When we Chinese girls listen to adults talk stories, we learned that we failed if we grew up to be bow wives or slaves from Kingston. And the explanation is that girls were taught to grow up and be more than wives because they would be slaves to the husband. They would continue to discourage themselves.
And then the picture, it's like her armor, because she's still like embracing that side, but she also has her the flower cone thingy her dad gave her, and then her hair's down because she best of both worlds, animal cat, and a nice motion.
So I have a question. So you're saying that in the article, so Kingston talks about how Chinese culture in general views girls, but then she also talks about Mulan the story of Mulan being different from that. So why did you think that ultimately in the article it's not showing a positive view of like girls being strong?
Because I mean, in regards to Mulan, it is being positive, but overall, like her message and her story alone, like how she perceived and how she grew up, it was not positive in her own environment. But then she sees Mulan in a different way. So I just feel like it wasn't very positive on her end, even though it does talk about a positive story.
Okay.
And also, we did read the Mulan part.
Yeah, I know you didn't read the part about Mulan, but it was just kind of like her reaction to it.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Thank you guys. Okay, this is a poster. The drawings are representing how in the movie, more so, Mulan and women are put higher, or Mulan, not women, just Mulan. So these are two shoulders, yes, soldiers, and we put them on pedestals just to show the height difference and the place difference that the movie portrays Mulan against everybody else as. Actually, near the end more so, but continue.
Okay, so for our poster we chose position 1, and the reason behind that, because both the film and the folktale that Kingston learned as a child to empower women. In Mulan, she spoke out when the army were like drafting the men to fight against the Hans. And then in White Tiger, the villagers were treating her as an equal now instead of belittling her, which shows how like throughout like both, you know, the article and the movie, there was like growth within like the empowerment of women.
For the movie, we used a quote, "If I be myself, I'll bring my family dishonor," and Mulan said that.
That means like if she doesn't act the way society expects her to act, like she's gonna bring her family dishonor, and that's the worst thing to do.
The White Tiger just said, no immigrants from my own village looking at me as if I failed them. Basically saying like how like she was seen as like a failure and everything through the whole article, but then at the end when she gets like she does something like that, then like she just wasn't seen as a failure.
So what about that first quote? So that one seems pretty negative. So how does that show it's empowering?
It shows how she like proves them wrong, because in the end she sort of did like be herself. She wanted to do something, make a difference, and she technically didn't bring disgrace. I mean, like everybody was like, "You saved China."
Yeah, she did awesome. All right, very nice. Ready? 1, 2.
In this second part, I think I did a lot better at probing the students to ask more specific questions, and I also waited longer so that they provided actual feedback to the questions instead of just a brief phrase or sentence and then moving on to the next group. So in the first clip in that part 2, I asked them to give a more specific answer about why they thought that the memoir that they read, the excerpt from the memoir, was a negative depiction of women and why it did not seem empowering to them. And then they did a pretty good job in defending their stance and giving a more elaborate answer to that question. And then in the second clip in this part, the group had a discrepancy in what they stated was their stance and the quotation that they provided. So they were saying that Mulan empowers women, but then the quotation they provided from the movie was pretty negative. So I noticed that on the spot, and I asked them to clarify why they had given such a negative quotation when they viewed Mulan as being empowering. And they did a good job of responding by stating that in the film, Mulan was able to prove the people who were critiquing her that she was actually strong and she was actually bringing honor to her family. So overall, these are just 2 examples from that second jigsaw presentation, and I did a much better job in general in this presentation of probing students, asking them more specific questions, and I continue to do that in later jigsaw presentations throughout the rest of the semester. So I believe that I definitely showed growth in this particular area, and I'm definitely proud of how much I improved.